Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. My name is TCapsNX, and today we are covering the top 5 SMGs in Season 2 Reloaded of Warzone 2. Now, we saw a handful of buffs and nerfs in the recent patch, and honestly, the close range meta is pretty close. There's not like one single gun that's way above the rest. In these top 5, they all kind of have their own strengths and weaknesses, and I'm going to be covering them based on 4 main categories. Number 1, time to kill. Number 2, recoil, or how easy the gun is to use. Number 3, its overall movement speed, and number 4, the both aim down sight and sprint to fire times of each gun. Now, before we jump into the video, I do want to thank today's sponsor, and that is Lucra. Lucra is an app available on the App Store, and it is all about making competition fun. This app allows you to wager against your friends on literally anything. What I love to use it for is to kill race against my friends in Call of Duty, but you can use it for literally anything you want. But they have tons of opportunities to also wager on sports and so much more. And if you use code TCapsNX, or if you just sign up with the link that'll be in the video description and in the pinned comment, you're going to get a free $15 to use on anything you want, and they're matching up to $100 on your first deposit, and there's a ton of more promos going on as we speak. Now, you do have to be 18 years or older to sign up, but I will say just throwing $1 or $2 on each game, it just makes it so much more fun and so much more competitive, and it really kind of ups the ante of every game. So it's a lot of fun. Give it a try. So now let's get into it and start with the fastest time to kill SMG in Warzone 2 currently, and that's the Lachmann Sub, aka the MP5. Now, the Fennec used to hold this title, but it was nerfed into oblivion, and it's just not that great anymore. The Lachmann's close range TTK of 525 milliseconds up to 9 meters makes it king of close range. But when looking at its time to kill in the mid-range area, around 10 to 20 meters, there's several others ahead of it. So I would not recommend using it as a sniper support since it struggles at mid-range. The build that I use has relatively low recoil, and I would consider this an easy to use SMG. The Lachmann did receive a very small nerf to its movement speed in Season 2 Reloaded, but it's barely noticeable. One downside to the Lachmann though is its sprint to fire time is actually the slowest of the 5 options today, although it's still decently fast. But this difference can mean you losing a gunfight if you're caught sprinting. It does have a relatively quick aim down sight speed time though, so as long as you aren't sprinting, it does great in close quarters. Alright guys, so let's cover the Lachmann Sub loadout. Now, you will see some familiarities in the way I build these SMGs. I love the FTAC Castle Comp muzzle because it's really smooth out the recoil, primarily focuses on that horizontal recoil, which really smooths out that gun. The Falcon barrel is going to help some with that movement speed. The VLK laser is basically a go-to on all of my SMGs because it helps that aim down sight speed and sprint to fire time. Very important in close quarters. The only downside is, remember, the laser is visible with this one. 40 round mag is what I like to use on the MP5. Now, I will say the 50 round is a great option, but just know it's going to really hurt our mobility and hurt our aim down sight speed some. So great option in trios or quads to run that, but the 40 still has a good amount of ammo capacity. Then lastly, that Lachmann TCG grip helps with the recoil control. Now, the MP5 or the Lachmann is one of the few SMGs it doesn't have an option that we can make a faster sprint to fire time here. I like to use that instead. So instead, we're going to go with this and give it very low recoil. Now, the second fastest time to kill SMG is the Vanzev. It's a very small gap behind the Lachmann, only 14 milliseconds slower, coming in at 539 milliseconds up to 10 meters. The Vanzev is similar to the Lachmann when it comes to its mid-range strength. So again, I don't think it's a great sniper support option. I would also consider the Vanzev very low recoil, and it's very easy to use. Now, the biggest strength of the Vanzev compared to the Lachmann is its faster sprint to fire time, and this can really make up for that small gap in its TTK. So if you're the ultra aggressive, push everything kind of person, the Vanzev is a perfect option. It does have just a tad slower movement speed compared to the Lachmann, but not by much, and this build overall still has good mobility. So for the Vanzev loadout, you're going to see it's pretty similar. Again, go with that FTAC Castle Comp for that recoil control. I don't run a barrel on this one just because the only one that's really worth running is this one that adds range, but this one really hurts our aim down sight speed, so I don't think it's necessarily worth it. FSS OLAV laser is basically the same thing as the VLK. Again, it helps that ADS and sprint to fire. 45 round mag is a must. Definitely need that extra ammo. True Tac grip. Now, this is the one that I mentioned before. This helps our sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. I think this is more important overall for that faster, kind of snappier handling. And then for the stock, I do like this Marquise stock, and this actually helps our sprinting speed and aim down sight speed a good bit with almost no really loss to recoil control. It really helps the mobility of the gun overall. Now, if you enjoyed strafe builds from Warzone 1, this PDSW, aka the P90, is amazing. And honestly, it's my personal favorite and what I actually set my current PR of 36 kills with on Ashiga Island. The PDSW blows everything out of the water when it comes to ADS movement speed, aka strafe speed. This can be used to make your opponents miss as you strafe left and right while shooting, or you can aim walk very fast and not make a noise as you come into a building. But the PDSW also has great movement speed in general, and this combination is what I absolutely love about it. Now, its close range TTK of 594 milliseconds is decent, but not great. But it maintains this TTK all the way up until 18 meters, making it the best option for mid-range and a great sniper support if you'd like to use one. I would say with the strafe build, its recoil is moderate and probably the most out of the 5 options today. So for a beginner level player, it may be difficult to hit your shots at longer ranges. Now, its only major downside is its aim down sight speed and sprint to fire times, which are slower than the other 5 SMGs. But again, with how fast you can aim walk, I recommend trying to pre-aim around corners as much as possible when using this build and kind of taking that out of the equation. So if you've already watched my 36 kill PR game, this is the exact same loadout that I use, and you're going to see this one is built differently than the others because we are building this for max strafe speed just because the P90 has certain attachments and whatnot that allow it to have such a fast strafe speed. FTech series IX barrel, and then the VLK laser. The integrated reflex rail, now this one's weird, it actually gives you a red dot, and the reason I'm using this one and not the light rail is for whatever reason, this actually gives you better recoil control compared to this one. This one kills your recoil, but you could definitely try that one if you'd like to. Hollow extended stock, and then the Bruin Q900 grip, and you're gonna see a lot of the tuning is tuned towards aim walking speed as well. An SMG that I find very underrated and just a ton of fun to use is the FSS Hurricane. The Hurricane's main strength is its overall mobility paired with very low recoil. It has the fastest aim down sight speed and sprint to fire times of these 5 SMGs, which makes it great for a run and gun playstyle. Now, it struggles in the time to kill department, and this is what really separates it from being a top SMG. But with all of its other strengths, low recoil, all that good stuff, I find myself playing very well with the Hurricane, and it really excels in both close and mid-range. So I have made a video on this exact Hurricane loadout in the past, and like I said, I just love this thing because it's just easy to use and it's super snappy. It almost feels more like Warzone 1 SMGs did. So again, similar loadout here, FTech Castle Comp for the recoil control, the laser for the faster ADS sprint to fire. Same with the rear grip and stock. These are helping our mobility and all that, but I do have this tuned more towards a lot of aim walking speed, and that helps. So it's kind of like the P90 PDSW loadout, but not as much. Now I am using the shark fin underbarrel. This really has no cons. This helps our aiming stability mainly, but we're going to tune this towards recoil control and our aim walking speed, and that helps with some of that. And last but not least, the Vel 46, aka the MP7, which did receive a solid buff in the Season 2 Reloaded update, mainly to its damage range. Statistically, the Vel is sort of a jack of all trades. It falls in 3rd place in terms of close range TTK of 567 milliseconds, but up to 13 meters. So it's got more range than both the Lachmann and Vanzev. It also has relatively low recoil, making it very versatile at mid-range. Everything else about the Vel is sort of average. It's kind of right in line with everything else. Decent mobility, a pretty standard aim down sight and sprint to fire times. So the Vel definitely deserves some more spotlight, and I think we're going to see it rise in popularity this season after its recent buff. So for the Vel loadout, again, FTAC Castle Comp for that recoil control. Again, the laser for the faster ADS and sprint to fire. Now I'm going with the 50 round mag. It starts with a 40 round mag, although the fire rate's kind of fast. So I think unless you're doing solos or duos, you definitely want to add at least to the 50, but it does have a 60 round mag. Just know that our mobility and aim down sight speed is going to really take a hit if we go up to the 60. So, definitely a good option in quads, but I like the 50 as more of a sweet spot. And then that Schlager soldier grip helps with that sprint to fire and ADS again. Now I am using the shark fin barrel just because it just helps our aiming stability without really any penalties, but you could maybe take that off, put on an optic, or put on a stock for more mobility if you choose to do so. So that's going to wrap up today's top 5 SMGs video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to use that link for Lucra when you download it, or use code TCAPSNX and give it a try. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.